I was questions to.
Working on somebody else's, yeah. The doors will be.
Jury rig. If that's the case, I don't care how they allow it to be split.
I know. I mean, that's not, that's the things I'm mentioning.
Alleviated. We're getting screwed again. They've taken the, let's find out how much stuff for it. Times more.
Well, she's not substitute, you just don't know. Well, he should have known what it was.
They gonna get up thanks or? Thomas is gonna say,
Now you wanna go first? It don't matter.
Ron's coming up here. And what you might have to do is. Discuss the position.
I'll call the health and welfare meeting to order. 5.
Came through this and stuff. Ron's. Yeah.
Yes, would you like me to do it now? That's what it is.
They want to do, add on a little small pieces.
Take a vote or see if anybody has any questions. We have Miss Julie Glenn and Mr. Steve Burrow sitting in for Avery and Angie. Do we have any opposition to that? And we'll continue on. We'll go ahead and do voice roll call, please.
Nick Holder,
Here.
Avery Wynn, Julie Wynn here. Steve Burrow. Jerry Prophet. Lisa Childress here. Todd Smith.
Here.
And McIntyre.
Here.
Thomas Prophet.
Here. Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second. No, all in favor? Motion to approve the minutes from July meeting, please.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from July.
Motion by Mr. Prophet, second by Ms. Childers. All in favor? Any further comments? I have no old business or no new business. Y'all have anything you want to discuss, talk about as far as health and welfare goes? Motion to adjourn. Motion. Motion by Mr. McIntyre,
Second.
second by Ms. Gwen, all in favor?
Hey, we're waiting on, Ron.
He's up here.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see you. Y'all ready for me?
No, he's getting ready to start it. We just waited to speak.
All right, so let's go ahead and call, building grounds meeting order. Before we have an approval of the agenda, I need to make an amendment. We'll add the new business election commission building.
Election Commission.
That'll be in. All right, can I get an approval of the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, next we'll move on to the approval of the July meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve July minutes.
Second. Got a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Public comments? All right, new business. County surplus property list, it's an attachment. Attorney Harden asking.
Yeah, well, I brought it back up again after the request of the mayor. A couple of citizens had asked about potential surplus property, you know. One of the ones that was inquired about is part of the land that was acquired after the Rome Mountain flood up there, and we can't convey it out to anybody. We have to maintain it as open land. But one of the ones that were asked about, we do have on the list of property that was declared surplus back during Humphrey's time. That list started with 35 parcels, and we're down to, I think, 13 left on this list now. Frankly, everything that was worth anything has already been sold, and the ones that are left are very uncertain as to title, how we even got them, whether they all exist, if they do exist, how much land is there. So, you know, as I put on the note there, you know, if we do sell these, we have to do it by public auction, but you know, it's going to be quick claim deeds, no guarantees, no promises. Whoever gets it is going to have to survey and be verified if anything there. So it's doubtful that they would bring money at all, just based on the state of it. But at least since somebody has asked about buying one of them, I thought I'd bring it up again, and we did see if y'all wanted to pursue selling them. These were all, some of these, as you'll see, there is no deed, there is no tax sale court order. I have no idea how the county even came to own these. So literally the deeds conveying these out are going to be sparse. But somebody might pay something for them, and they could get back on the tax roll. So it's up to you all how you want to proceed with it. The typical procedures we use are different based on whether we acquired the property by deed or tax sale. But in this case, all of these are at least from the 1980s. So nobody has any idea how much they would have sold for somewhere in a tax sale or how much taxes would have ever been owed. These are just literally things we may own that we could sell, and there's no set price or reserve we can really put on them. But anyway, if you want to proceed with it, we'll take it on the full commission, declare them surplus, and I'll try to set up an auction. The last one we did several years ago, I mean, some of them, you know, sold for like $100. I mean, they're just not going to bring much money, but they're not bringing anything as they are. So if you decide you want to add some on the full commission, we'll do it. And I've got all the title work on all of these and maps and all that stuff, but just to simplify things here, I just made this list.
Is there anything the county's having to do to maintain these properties?
Say those top few there, certainly parts of them went to the 19E right away when Lord knows in the 80s or whenever that road was abandoned or made. So, like I said, these are gonna be little things. Some of them just little strips beside the road. Now, the one that was inquired about, at least on the deed, I think it's supposed to be 20-some acres. But I think it's basically the mountain, if it's anything. And the one there on Bluefoot Avenue, that we've had some issues with that, the rock quarry. It's hard to find out much about it, but it's just on a really old plat back behind East Side School. And evidently was a rock quarry at one time, as was reserved on that plat, I think from the 30s or something, 30s. But there's nothing no deed or anything that shows it's vested in the county. It's just listed under Carter County on the tax map. And we've had some issues with neighboring properties there, fighting one another about a right of way to get to their houses on either side of the quarry. But like I said, these are all just really questionable, not very valuable for the most part. The one that little island, no river, like I said, no paperwork to it. One was a park, literally on a subdivision plat. It just said park. And it's open land, not owned by anybody, so it's listed under Carter County. Some of those things may not be something anybody would want. And that's frankly the reason why this list has been left since we did the last sale, probably 5 years ago.
Do we know which one was acquired?
I think it was one of was it Indian Creek?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those Indian Creek ones, maybe parcel 86, or maybe. Like I said, I think it's literally like the side of the mountain, beside 19E there going towards Love City. But somebody wants it and has asked, and just be, like I said, we'd be making no promises or guarantees as to what is there, conveying it by a quick claim deed, which is essentially, I can make you a quick claim deed in the White House if you want it. Doesn't necessarily mean that much. But that's all we'd be able to do.
And all responsibility falls on the purchaser, so they'd have to get it surveyed. It's total liabilities fall on them. But that's probably the most valuable piece left with the 20+ acres.
If there's really 20, like I said,
It says that, but
I
it's,
think it says 20 acres
Yeah.
on the tax card, but the only actual deed I could find said 8 acres. And I know part of it went to the road. I think the rest of it's like the side of it. But if somebody wants to pay something for it, and the county can tax it, it's, it brings in something. And you don't have to do anything tonight if you don't want to. If you want to, you can get on the property and say, look these things up for yourself and, consider it later. There's no rush. It's been going on for whatever, 8, 9 years at this point.
I'll make a motion to put it on the county surplus property list. To go to auction, or how would you word that?
Just advance it to the full
Advance it to
commission.
the full commission.
To be sold as surplus property.
County surplus property to full commission.
Second.
All right, I got a motion, I have a second. All right, let's do any discussion on this? I see none. Let's do a roll call vote, please.
Nick Holder,
Yes.
Julie Gwynn,
Yes.
Steve Burrow,
Yes.
Lisa Childress,
Yes.
Bob Smith,
Yes.
Alan McIntyre,
Yes.
Robert Crawford.
Yes.
Motion passes. So that'll move to the full commission. All right, let's move on to election commission building.
I'll give a little background. I think we've mentioned this before, but as you know, we had to purchase new election machines. I don't know if anybody's seen them. The older ones were like little small suitcases that the election staff carried around all the precincts. These are much larger suitcases. They're the largest, like you carry through the airport, put the handles up on. That's how big these are. So they're currently over at the elections office in every bit of space that they have, sitting in the floors. They're just piled everywhere. There's no, so the election commission met with me and asked to build a piece onto the building to store the voters, the stuff into, because they need to be on site with the staff. We can't risk having them stored off site for someone to tamper with or break into, just be a huge mess. So what we did is we brought Tom Shanks in, the architect, and and Ron done a plan for what they need. I met with Tracy and Junior Stanley, who's on the election commission, and they come up with a plan of what they need, and Tom drew it out for us from the architect. And then we've got a budget in place, and then I'll turn it over to Ron to go from there.
Okay, as Patty said, it's a storage problem what we're having. We're looking at building a 14 by 18 addition, which if you look at that drawing I just gave you, that black part, it's what we're looking to add on to what's there now. All those petitions inside will come out, so there's quite a bit of work in this thing. I've got a budget price. I work with Travis Brooks, who we've worked with on the financial department. We also work with him on the restrooms here. We're looking at about, he says $65,000. We have $25,000 that the state is giving.
We've got a budget of 65,000, but I reached out to Rusty Crowe to ask him, since this is kind of not our debacle. I mean, we didn't ask for these large election machines to come in, and this was kind of put in our plate. If they'd give us any money to help put toward building onto our election office, and they did give us they're going to give us 25,000 towards this. The state is. So that's going to be in the form of like a grant. We just signed the paperwork's waiting for me to sign, but I'm not going to, we need to see how you guys want to carry forth on the remainder of the amount. And Travis did not think that it was going to be 65, but he did it on the higher end just because you know how things are right now. We don't know what the prices are on anything, but we don't foresee it being that high, but we want to make sure
I think it's
to do the project, we're covered.
After talking to Tom and some of them, I think we're looking somewhere around 50, 55 maybe. That is a framed up stick frame with insulation, brick to match the building it's there, flat roof to match what's there. It'll look like an actual addition. I mean, we're doing it right. The gutter trim will all match, will all be tied back in. There's a pad that's probably close to a foot deep on the front end of that thing where we're coming out in the parking lot and it's falling away from the building. I think you're looking somewhere around $55,000. And I've talked to the city. They have no problem with what we want to do. So I don't know. It's really up to you guys. I mean, it's something we have to do. Right now, if you go in down there, you can't get in that room for the voting machine.
They're piled everywhere. And of course, we have our election, the first one. Well, they've got one this week, but which is just at Round Mountain and up that way. But the first election's in March.
They're about as big as a golf bag, probably, if you know what size a golf bag is. They're large.
We will have to have Ron and trustees actually help them get these machines to the precincts the next election. The staff, the volunteers won't be able to handle these machines.
They're large.
They're large.
It's 65,000 after that money or before?
It's the total, and then we'll put 25,000 towards it, so it would leave, yeah. So, I mean, when they came to me, I thought, this is kind of not fair because we didn't order these big machines, but we did contact Trey Hargett at the state, who's over the state election, and I called Rusty and I said, you need to ask somebody to give us some money to help towards this if we need to do this, and they did. They gave us 25,000. So, and we're thinking more around the 50 or 55,000, so we may have to pull half out of the general fund if you all want to send it on to, if you all are okay with what we want to do and send it on to budget for funding.
This, this Paul is writing an RFP for me, or when we turn him loose to do that, he'll write us an RFP. Then we'll send it out for bids, just like we do anything here, all the cost of it. So, it could come in a little higher. I don't think it will, but, I don't know. Right now, this day and time, stuff changes so quickly, it's hard to tell. I don't think it's gonna get any cheaper. And he's wanting to get it done, I think in March. He said he was needed that done sometime in March. That's Junior talking, so I don't know.
Needs it done. They want to have it done because the first election's in March.
Which is what, May, I think.
We were thinking if we got it through the process and the RFP would go out by the end of the month, and the commission approved everything.
Early voting will be going on there, so it probably need to be a little bit early.
Yeah, it won't take long. This is not a big project. So, I mean,
It's 256 square feet. I mean, it's not a large project, but, it's gonna take a little while, just like anything else does.
we wanted to make sure it's done right. So,
Yeah, I think when they first looked at it, they were talking about putting a shed on the front of it, the shed roof. Now, there's no way. We need to make it match what's there. It's a county
you
building.
bring me over there and try to tell me that, and I was like, we don't do things like that. We can't put a shed roof on there.
What we're doing will look like what's there. It'll look like an addition that was built as the way it should have. You won't even tell it's an addition when it's done.
Well, and we'll know that the machines are safe, they're on site, they're with the staff. That's the main thing. And my concern is not moving them off site, and that nobody wants to move them off site. Even the Secretary of State, that's why they gave us the money, is to add on to the building to keep them on site.
We're gonna do the electric, myself and Roy, and we'll probably do biggest part of the demo on getting those petitions down and out of the way.
That'll be.
What we can to save some money. That's where we're at. The dark part is what we're adding, and we're taking out a door. That's why we got the floor blocked in. But the floor will have to be all redone. It's old indoor, outdoor carpet, and where the petitions come up, it's gonna be nothing. So we'll have to redo the whole floor to make it right. That's pretty much where we are. If anybody got any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Any questions?
Anybody, needs to come by and look, holler at me, I'll show you what we're doing. So thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Big a biscuit, just a 50-pound bag of flour.
All right, you got an idea of where we're at here. Is this something we want to continue to have a conversation about? What's?
We've got 25,000 waiting in the wings, just based upon where budget wants. If you all approve it on the budget, we'll put 25. The state's going to give us 25,000 to put towards.
So you said you think it's going to be around 50, 55, give or take.
That's where we think, I think 65 is probably 20% high, somewhere in there maybe.
Anything that's left over goes back to the general fund once the project's complete.
And it could surprise me come in lower, but, I don't want to say that.
Well, I think we're, with this committee, from my past experience, everything we kind of do, we kind of try to go a little higher so that the money's right. Shoot it too low. But it's at the will of the committee.
Think the city would give us any money?
No.
Wishful thinking, I guess.
Mr. Chair, how much funds do we have in the building fund now? Capital improvement? Of course, in the next couple of months, they'll be the done.
Probably about 85,000, I think. Yeah. I mean, there would be enough considering they're giving us 25 of it, 25 of the total.
Yeah, I know.
That's not considered what will be coming in the next 90 days.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they approve it and send on the budget, then you all could look at pulling it out of the capital fund for the paying it.
So you need, about 40,000 out of that?
No, you probably do.
Safely, I would say no more than 65. That way you're covered, and if it's less, then great.
Out
65 will cover it, and we've got 25 of the
That's
65.
what I'm saying.
Voted
You're only
25 by state.
So you need 40, so we'll be down to budget approving 40,000 from wherever they want to.
And then it may not be 40.
And then it-
That's
whatever's
what
left over.
is, we're not to that point yet, so it did get, come in higher like the bathroom deal did.
Then that we would have to come back, but we're trying to get it right so you don't have to come back. But you never know. You know, Julie, how prices are on everything. It's crazy right now, but
But with every project that I remember us doing, we tried to shoot.
we've been pretty close on it. I mean, the finance project, we ended up with money back. We say, so you never know.
And the windows, we were over on those as well, I think.
No, we were over and ended up coming under, so yeah. So the bid could come under, and once the bid comes in, we know exactly how much it is. And if you all appropriated any extra, then we won't need it.
Would it be better to go higher than 40,
Yes.
or by maybe 10 or 15?
I mean, we're kind of splitting hairs at this point.
Well, you all would approve it just to go on the budget, and then budget.
It's technically, yeah, it kind of goes
Decide
back to
on how
the
to
conversation we had last time. It's
appropriate
kind of their,
Yeah.
that's their job to figure out.
Yeah, you're just recommending them to figure out how to
They
pay
can
for
figure
it.
out how much, and exact numbers, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you could have a recommendation of how much money you think it's gonna take.
65,000, you're looking at around $256 a square foot. I think will more than cover, but, you never know.
So again, this committee, we're just making a recommendation and sending it on to budget. And it's their job to figure out the exact numbers and where it's gonna be funded from. Or we can make a recommendation.
You can make a recommendation if you wanted to go above 65.
It's worth that.
Has the AE, is he far enough along to give a estimate
Yes, that was it, 65.
of its protection?
Yeah. Tom, the AE drew it all, and
Was that from Tom?
It's gonna have to be done.
we can't not start on side.
Well, you got 25, you got $25,000. It's kind of like the ambulance that we discussed last, you got something sitting there that's there. You might want to
Yeah,
take.
the state's already sent me the paperwork for the 25,000.
So
Didn't sign off on it yet because I need to see, which way we want to go with it.
should the motion be 465, just in case the state loses paperwork, or?
Yeah, you should definitely fund it for the full amount, but there's 25. I've got the paperwork waiting to sign
But
it.
just because the number's there don't mean this.
I know, I'm just saying,
Yes.
we've got 25, but until it gets our check in, I'll make a motion to add on part of the building to the election commission, not to exceed $65,000, with the budget determining where the money comes from.
I'll
Because
second.
it has to be done, correct?
No choice.
Any kind of election tampering, that's for sure.
Did you get the motion in a second? You made a second.
And it's to approve up to 65,000 to build addition on the election office for equipment storage.
It's not equipment, it's for the voting machine storage. Yeah.
Still roll call vote.
Nick Holder,
Yes.
Julie Gwynn,
Yes.
Steve Burrow,
Yes.
Lisa Childress,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Daniel McIntyre,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you all.
All right. What I thought was gonna be the main event tonight. Moving on to old business. County archives. So as most of you all know, where we are with that, where we've been with that. Honestly, if you don't mind, you've kind of been on the front end of this and been leading the way on this. Catch everybody up that may not know or may not be on where we're at, where we've been looking.
We're looking at the Masonic Lodge. You know, it's actually connects with the election commission. They're wanting to downsize. Their membership is declining. So, but they also want to keep it within the county. So I think everybody, did
I
you?
think everybody was there. I think everybody got to see it, didn't they?
It's,
Did you get to see it?
For what it is for the archives, I mean, it's, the square footage, I think it's 10,000 square feet. It does need work. I think you're gonna go look at it, what, Saturday?
Saturday morning, I've got an appointment to meet them, and I'm gonna get up and look at the attic and check the roof out, and also meet the electrician's gonna be down there to go over the wiring with me, make sure we're good on that. I'll meet them 7 o'clock Saturday morning.
We have to, have it appraised. They got it appraised, but it wasn't for, I don't know, they said it wasn't for what we'd use it for, so, but we'd have to have it appraised anyway. I think it would be a beneficiary for what it is.
You got an idea what their appraisal was? You won't tell us?
They had it played since 2017 too.
So they told me that it was appraised for a gym. I don't know. It kind of is what it is. I do know that the guy that I've been talking to, he told me the other day that they won't, I guess if we decided to appraise it and everything, he wants a number so he can present it to their people and see where it goes. If that's the will, you know.
The first step would be the committee will need to decide if you want to get it appraised. And then you would do a motion for me to get it appraised, and that would be the first step, to get it appraised.
Do you have money in your budget to do that?
Yeah, I budget for appraisals every year.
That's something we have to do. You know, we had a conversation the other day about, you know, what steps can we take? Can we go ahead and move forward? Because we want to obviously get this process with archives done and over with, no offense, but we've been fighting this fight for a while now. If you've been on this committee, you've heard me say almost every meeting, we need to figure something out. But there's a process, and we got to follow that process. And it's the first step. So if the committee's interested in this property, which I will say, since I've been on this committee and since this has been a topic which has been from day one I've been on here, this has been on the agenda. This is one thing that we've not been able to clear from the agenda.
And we are the only county that does not have, and
Johnson County.
The only county that do not have an archives, and Johnson County is already a little ahead of us because they're doing some things to get one too. Mayor Potter's on the same track as us, so we're kind of left out with not having an archives facility.
My concern just right now with up there at the workforce building, when they start tearing down, we got to move.
Well, that's what I was about. I kind of sound like a broken record because I've repeated myself constantly in meetings about this, but that process is going to start soon. And there's a lot of stuff being stored up there.
Oh yeah, they're honest. They're moving stuff into the property now, and Ron's trying to make room for them now to store stuff.
You know, let's not forget, that's technically their property at this point. So they've kind of done us a favor by letting us maintain that stuff there. However, we're running out of time, just to be honest. And we don't have a property that we own that I know of.
It's been the best location I've seen. I mean, the square footage fits, the location fits. I mean, it's really probably one of the last things we're going to see come around. And we've looked at quite a few places, and I'll let Lisa and Teresa speak if they want to on it.
I asked Ned from the Washington County Archive and Donna Briggs to come. I think Nick was there with them, and their reaction was, wow. And it's all one floor, and I think they were a little jealous of, you know, And he said there's going to be a renovation cost, no matter what we do, no matter where we go. There's going to be things that are going to have to be done for the archive to protect the records. That's a given, no matter where we are. But there's not going to be as much tearing down of walls. We'll probably be building some walls and have the firewall in. And we're not going to have to be destroying things. There will be more than likely an HVAC that'll have to be in its own system for the records and for only the records. I think there's 3 there now is what
Three, I think you said, yes.
they said, So if those are working well, then that's going to be great for all the rest of the areas.
They are older units,
Yeah.
so they may run a long time.
They may run longer.
They're probably better than the new ones. But as far as places that we've looked at, it's by far the best that I've seen.
And let's not forget, there's money set aside, earmarked for this. This is what it has to be used for, this conversation we had the other day.
Yeah, there's the acreage that goes with it there that nothing's sitting on that could be sold if we needed to put the money back in to the archive fund.
Well, and the positive about the property is it kind of ties in with the election, beside the election office. So it kind of ties in with our county buildings where they're all kind of in the same generalized location. So that's a positive.
Do we know how much it's gonna cost to appraise?
That's what I was.
I think
The
the,
last ones you did was what, 775?
yeah, that building that size will probably be about $1,000. 700,000. And I know I've got a line item that I budget for appraisals just in case, so that money will already be. And I've got an appraiser who we use, so I just gotta have, if you all approve for me to do that, I'll give you a call and get it moving.
And I would say they're slow too on their process. We're slow, but they're slower.
And they're not in a hurry. They said they're waiting on us to do whatever we
And
need.
it's not technically, I guess, per se on the market out for.
No, yeah, they have it.
And that was assured to me that until we figure out what we wanted to do, it really wasn't gonna be offered to nobody else.
That's what I was assured too. So we're not going to offer it to anybody else till you all say no.
Because they don't have to sell right now, but if they don't sell, and Wade has explained to me that in 5 to 10 years, their dues are gonna go up to a point where just to pay the bills, So if they can get somewhere downsized and their dues maybe not be as high.
So at this point, you all have an appointment for Saturday?
Saturday morning.
Saturday, okay.
Well, we know we have to do something. We
Yeah.
know we've been looking for some time. It's just a fact that we have to have one. So I will put into a motion that we go ahead and give the mayor the okay to start an appraisal on the Masonic Lodge property. I don't know what the address is, but do I need to add anything else into that, Josh?
Should be fine.
Mr. Chair, may I speak?
Yes, sir.
Number one, you got to consider too, that organization has not, as a body, officially voted to even say or to relocate. And secondly, if I'm not mistaken, in the structure of the Shriners, I don't know what y'all call it, the Grand Temple, the Grand Poopah Home, or what?
There's
four organizations in that building. Organizations, see, that has to give approval too, so you're looking 4 to 6 months as fast as they can go. Even because you don't even have an offer.
You're right. That's what,
You're right. But the thing is we have a process, they have a process. Somebody's gonna have to start the process. And I think us going this route is showing initiative, start the process. Once we get it back, ball's in their court, then they start their process.
And he said it would go back and forth, but I figured we'd get it appraised, see what that comes in with, and then I'll go and offer
Be approaching us.
as low as I can offer.
It don't have to be faced with it, don't get you too big. You got to get faced.
Yeah. And it may be that we can offer and then they counter offer until we get to good price. And I think they're,
That's the only starting point that we have. We just get it appraised.
see what it's worth.
We have that,
I have
we
no
have to do
idea,
that.
'cause I have no idea.
So I'll leave my motion as it stands.
So we got a motion, we got a second.
It's just to approve the mayor to move forward with the appraisal.
Yes.
All right, let's do a roll call on that, please. Hang on just a second. Does anybody have any discussion on that? We kind of already, just want to make sure.
Little trail of 20 acres of mountain land, beautiful mountain land.
I say we just give them the whole, we just give them the whole list here.
Yeah, you have it all.
All right.
An island in the middle of the Doe River. Peace and solitude.
That's great.
All right, go ahead.
Nick Holder,
Yes.
Julie Gwynn,
Yes.
Steve Burrow,
Yes.
Lisa Childers,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Daniel McIntyre,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can I ask a quick stupid question? It's so obvious, I kind of feel stupid for asking, but there's one thing I've learned in the last year. Don't assume you know the answer to something you're not sure about. We go, let's say everything goes through with this and we get to the point of purchasing it. Who's going to be the actual owner of the building that the archives are in? The county or the?
The county. They'll be treated just like every building that the county owns. Ron will be over it for maintenance, just like the health department, elections, highway department, everything. It'll fall up under my realm, too, for a budget, for utilities, all of that'll have to be factored into insurance, all that'll, just like a county owned building.
That answers it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, last item on old business B, Herman Robinson campus. We discussed this last meeting. Probably gonna be good to us.
Yeah, we went up there, Ron and I did, last week or week before last? Week before last, and did a tour of the whole facility. And Ron has got they've got a place where maintenance can move right now, so we can get them off of the workforce campus and up to this facility. The facility's in good shape. The buildings are in very good shape. We're gonna get a steal out of this property. They're transferring over to us. I mean, we were impressed.
Very nice.
Very nice. And then they've got the Kubota operations up there, which is 4 bays, and it's a huge operation that's going to be moving to the Boones Creek campus that's coming on. So that's going to be moving soon. So once that moves out up there, Ron and all of our maintenance and janitorial will move into that larger facility so they can park all their vehicles, all the janitorial supplies, everything will go into there so we can clear out all the nooks and crannies that are all piled with janitorial here. So the lease is just for Ron and to protect us because they're up there on their property, but TBR is fine with that. But as soon as everything starts transitioning from there to the new facility, we will take ownership of that facility if the committee so still wants to.
So again, this was something that we discussed last meeting. We're up to speed fairly with what's going on here. So I'll open the floor up for.
I'll make a motion that we send this lease agreement to the full commission for vote.
I'll second.
Nick Holder,
Yes.
Julie Gwynn,
Yes.
Steve Burrow.
Yep.
Lisa Childers,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Daniel McIntyre,
Yes.
Thomas Prophet.
Motion passes. Thank you all. Written comment.
I'm going to send an invite out anyways, but everybody can go ahead and mark your calendars for August 11th at 1:30. Another ribbon cutting. The Tweetsie Trail, and we're going to do ribbon cutting for the Tweetsie Trail and the biking trails. The ribbon cuttings for phase 1 and the groundbreaking will be for the Tweetsie Trail expansion and phase 2, 3, and the pump track of the biking trails. We're going to do it on August 11th at 1:30 because we've got several state officials that'll be flying in for that also. But I'll send out invites to everybody. We're going to do an invite. Just kind of wanted to give you just a date a little bit ahead of time.
Before you adjourn, I was just gonna mention to y'all, there's no action item now, but I have been working with, Billy Harrell this past week on a lease for the use of the tower in Avery County for the radio communication project. So that's just kind of early stages, but probably come back here with it when we get it finalized, but that's something that's in the works too.
Anything else? All right. Motion to adjourn. Make a motion.
I do. Second.
Second, sorry. Yeah, I got my ear.
I'll go ahead and call the law enforcement committee meeting to order. I'll let the previous roll call stand. Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Two second.
Do the Glenn.
Can I get a motion, please, for the approval of the minutes from the July 2023 meeting?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? I don't feel like we'll have any public comments. At this time, I don't have any new business or any old business to discuss. Any commissioner comments regarding law enforcement committee? Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion. All the rules and bylaws to order, 6:48. Use the roll call. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for July?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a comment. John, don't have no old business. New business, we need to decide if we want to recognize Juneteenth holiday for 23-24 holiday calendar. We talked about it 2 or 3 months ago. but it
We
was-
just gotta prepare the calendar.
Yeah.
Commission usually approves it October, November for next year.
So we need to, we'll committee see if we want to recognize that as a paid holiday for county employees or whatever they want to do.
Police still do they get President's Day?
Yes, we get, I think there's 11. You remember, Josh?
I looked at it today.
Those are 11
I think they
holidays.
get 12, right?
12, okay, maybe 12.
Jennifer, we got in now.
I think the city did it, they
State.
switched.
State recognizes it too.
Is it a federal or state holiday?
It's federal now.
Federal.
It's been federal, now it's state, and then the city recognized it this year. And I think most all counties around us recognized it.
I think the last time that we had this conversation, we were waiting for state's movement.
Yeah, it hadn't passed yet.
State,
Yeah.
the federal government had done, but the
The
state had.
state had done it, yeah.
So
It
we
just
wait
took
for the state.
Took effect this year in the state, and then the city and some other counties did this past year. But you don't have to recognize any of them.
You might.
It's up to you.
We just need to know whether or not to put it on
Yeah,
our
whether-
calendar when I do the calendar.
The only real cost would be overtime paid to like law enforcement and those folks who aren't, they get paid for the holiday regardless. So, I mean, double time or whatever if they're actually working on that day. So there would be some cost associated with it that's not necessarily budgeted for that, but I couldn't give you a number.
I'm gonna make a motion that we recognize Juneteenth holiday in the next year's budget for county employees.
Got a motion. I have a second.
I don't think I have a second.
Nobody had a second yet.
We don't have a second, so we don't,
Motion fails.
we don't move forward with.
Second.
Well, I just making sure, because when I do that, when you all approve the holidays for next year, it won't be on there. So that's what we were trying to do. And the next thing, I'm sorry I didn't add it, but the election dates for next year. We'll need to add those onto the holiday calendar, which is March 5th, August 1st, and November 5th. Those will have to be added on because we closed the courthouse for voting. This is a precinct.
We need to go ahead and,
Yeah, you all have to vote to add those on or have me add them onto the calendar. The full commission will too.
we'll meet March 5th and when.
March 5th, August 1st, and November 5th.
Oh, yeah. So we need a motion to add March 5th, August 5th, November 1st, was it?
August 1st.
August 1st, November 5th.
And
We'll add them on.
I'm dyslexic.
August 2nd, August 3rd, August 4th.
That whole month.
Say August.
You get those dates?
I don't even know what I wrote down. I wrote down.
Here's the dates again.
March 5th, August 1st, and November 5th.
We would run into the same situation with overtime and those type of things, correct?
Yeah, well, we have to have those
That's a
off
voting.
because the precinct, this courthouse will have to be
I'll make
closed.
a motion that we approve those dates.
I'll second it.
Those are election dates. I just like to be able to list them on the whole year's calendar so everybody knows when we're closed.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Commissioner comments? None?
Now I know why you were so upset at a 5-hour budget meeting.
Do what?
Now I know why you were so upset about a 5-hour budget meeting.
Exactly. Hey, I told you, we get through it. We don't mess around in
We
here.
don't play around in this one.
We go over to
Adjourn.
second.
Julie, we usually gauge our meetings by when Gary starts dozing off. I'm sitting here.
I know, I forgot.
I haven't seen them yet. They told me they were gonna be bigger when, and the others just barely.
They're literally like this, a pull-up handle on.
Oh, my.
That'd be it.
And I have to haul those things and carry them myself. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Excuse me, Papa couldn't tell you.
Use this so they don't give it back.
I just want to make sure it wasn't nothing I need to do.